beyond excited. Listen, y'all, as you all know, we have a ladies only mastermind group that's going to start. It's like a Sunday brunch mastermind vibe that we're doing, and it's going to happen this Sunday. We're excited about it. And so we're focused on thriving versus surviving. It's been amazing. I've been blessed to work with so many incredible women over the years. And so, listen, I was blessed for this woman to come into my life years ago. I mean, we actually grew up in church together way back when. And I've just been so impressed by her journey, just watching her just do so many remarkable things. And so I'm not going to take it away because I want to make sure I provide her the opportunity to tell her story, share who she is, tell you all about how amazing and incredible she is, the amazing things that she's doing. So, folks, I have the distinct honor and privilege of introducing you to Dr. Samantha Benjamin-Allen. Y'all, listen, come on, Samantha, let these folks know who you are, because everybody's got to know the remarkable things you're doing, the lives you're changing, the impact you're making. And I mean, talking about someone that's thriving, I just can't wait to just get into this conversation with you. Please, 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 please let folks know who you are. Go ahead. Mike is yours.
Thank you, Coach Cecil, for that intro. I'm honored to be sharing this moment with you. Hi, everyone. I'm Dr. Benjamin-Allen, also known as the Freedom Wellness Doc. And I have a mission to share my voice and my gifts to inspire, encourage, and motivate others to see the possibilities that lie ahead, no matter their circumstances. My journey through growing up in a single-parent household and overcoming self-destructive behaviors to becoming a wife, a mother, physician, leader, mentor, teacher, so many things, is why I'm passionate about seeing others thrive by living well-balanced, healthy, and restored lives. I'm founder of Freedom Wellness Physiatry, which is a direct specialty in-home rehabilitation consulting practice, serving the DMV by helping the severely debilitated achieve increased mobility, function, and quality of life. I share my expertise as a physical medicine and rehab physician to help people thrive in spite of debility and medical challenges that they might be facing, by partnering with their caregivers and organizations to help them have better lives. So I'm happy to be here.
Oh man, it's awesome because I feel like medicine's changed. Like, I feel like the industry of medicine has changed in many ways, in that we are now finding creative ways to really meet the patient where they are. And I love that you are doing that. Like, you're intentionally saying, listen, let me help. Almost like a concierge doctor kind of approach, where you're like, listen, let me help you where you are to help you really get to where you need to be. Now, I'm not going to sit here and just kind of see you for 2 minutes and then roll out. I want to actually be there to help you get to where you need to be. So I love what you're doing. I feel there's a tremendous demand and need for that in the marketplace right now. And so love your approach to medicine. Love the fact that you are so passionate, and it's very evident you're passionate. Your story's a passionate one as well. So let's kind of start here. I want to start with the first question. What does womanhood mean to you at this stage in your life? I want to just ask for some, just kind of reflect on kind of your journey, kind of like your identity, your growth, and the phase of life that you're in this moment.
Womanhood at this point in my journey really is about self-discovery and showing up authentically and confidently as who I am, and demonstrating that for my children so that they can grow in their own confidence and their own identity.
Wow.
To really shine brightly in a very broken world and know that who they are is uniquely special and designed to reach people in a way nobody else can. So I think as a woman, especially as a Black woman, in a society where we're often undermined or kind of given messages that we can only aspire to do or be a certain level of something if anything we aspire to be. It's important to show up brightly. You know, not feeling like you need to dim your light to make anybody else comfortable. So that's where I'm at.
I love that. Wow, that's now. See, and you know what? I love that you shared that last piece, right? About dimming your life to make others comfortable. That's like a big statement. Where oftentimes, you know, we dial ourselves back because our it's like, you know, listen, when you shine bright, it sometimes folks squint, and you know what? That's okay. It's
Yep.
all right for that to happen. But to me, what I love that you said that was really like outstanding was this is legacy, right? This is about generational, and I'm going to use this word in a different capacity, generational wealth. See, we oftentimes think about the money part of generational wealth, but we don't think about the mental transference of knowledge and information, and really helping to pass along wisdom to the next generation as well. So I love that you're saying I've got a responsibility. It's not just about me showing up for me to live my life. The choices I'm making are also about my children. That's beautiful. So love that you're sharing that. Thank you so much. So was there a moment when you realized that you had to shift from just surviving to intentionally choosing for you to be able to thrive? Like, was there a moment where you said, "Listen, you know what? I'm in a space where maybe I'm doing all right. I'm doing okay, but that's not enough. I deserve and want more." I'd love to hear your story. Any
Definitely.
about that,
Yeah.
please?
I think that moment came for me when I got to a point where I was really operating on kind of a last thread.
Mm,
I was extending myself in various spaces to the
mm,
point that it was becoming detrimental to my well-being,
mm,
and I was just exhausted. And I said, this can't keep going like this, or
mm.
I'm gonna can't go out like this. So
Yeah.
I really got into boundary setting and kind of getting back to a place where I was nurturing the things that I needed to thrive
Mm,
rather than worrying about everybody else and people
mm.
pleasing and all of that. I'm not going to say it's not a challenge anymore,
Right.
because we do tend to default to old behaviors, especially when we're under a lot of stress, but it's something I'm intentionally working on because boundaries have been huge in
Mm,
helping me to get in a space, a healthier space mentally, emotionally, and a space where I can serve and give the quality I desire to bring to every space,
mm, mm,
which was starting to suffer when I got to that point. So I'd say it was a point where I felt also that there was more that I could do, but I wasn't in a space I wasn't in a place that gave me space to do that. So I had to shift. I'll put it that way.
yeah. Yeah. Oh no, you know, and so I'll first of all honor you by saying this. Thank you, right? When I say thank you, I'm saying thank you because I know how busy you are. I understand, but you're in your car, you're on the move, and you're taking and making the time talking about boundaries. I'm grateful for you giving me giving of your time, not just for me, but for those that need to hear what you're sharing, right? Because you're right. There's so many people that are in a place in a space where the lack of boundaries are breaking them down, and women in particular. As a coach and as someone that's been coaching women in particular for so many years, the biggest challenge that I've faced with my clients is that women feel you have to do it all. You have the expectation from society that you've got to be superwoman, right? You've got to do it
Yeah,
all. If listen, your priorities are secondary. You don't matter in the picture. And so hearing you talk about this, I
that's
think
the message that
it's
we
huge.
get. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
huge. And so there comes a point where you decide, hold up, that narrative does not necessarily serve me. I can't keep pouring from an empty cup. And so I truly appreciate you, number one, taking up your time and valuing our relationship and those that will hear this today enough to say, listen, I'm going to make time for this because I understand you've got to create boundaries to protect yourself and your well-being. So thank you so much for that. And I appreciate that share. And I know there's other women that are probably like, oh my gosh, I can relate to what you're saying as you talk about that because it's a huge,
Most definitely.
most definitely.
Yeah.
So what's the lesson you've learned in your journey that you wish every woman knew earlier? I mean, and come on, universal wisdom here. I know you got some stuff, the diamonds off of this. Come on, let's see what you got.
The universal lesson. I'd say know that your voice, your story, and your struggles matter.
Mm,
Sometimes I think we don't believe that, to be honest.
mm,
And when you honestly believe that you have something of value and something to share. I mean, I was blown away when I started to share my story with people that it gave breakthroughs and it helped them get one step closer to their healing. And I didn't think it was that big of a deal, but no story or struggle is too small. And I think sometimes we like to compare and say, oh, well, my situation isn't as bad as this one, or mine isn't as impactful as this. But you never know what you're carrying that somebody else needs to hear, or what idea you have that can help solve somebody else's problem. And we can kind of diminish the value of that with whatever preconceived, thoughts we have about whatever. But I want to tell you that your voice, your story, and your struggles matter. They all have a purpose. So that's the universal truth I would share.
And you know what? I think that's a powerful share, because when we understand that this thought process that we have, that my story doesn't matter, is actually self-sabotaging.
Yes. And that's one of my self-destructive issues. Listen, we got to stop doing that.
Because the journey is real, right? But the journey actually helps to inform who we are and also how we make impact. The hard stuff oftentimes is the piece of it, the puzzle that the average person doesn't understand it. And today in our book club, we talked about, and this is now 2 books back to back, right? The last book we read with Oprah talked about, the climb, right? The hard part there.
Yes, yes.
And today the author talked about, in our new books that we're reading, Oprah's last book was The Path Made Clear. This new book,
Path Made Clear.
Yeah, this book is
Willpower Doesn't Work.
There you go. Willpower Doesn't Work. Exactly. And in that book, he says today, and he was talking about the fact that the struggle is what helps to create us. Talking about what it takes for a bird to a chick to peck its way out of the shell. And so what it means for us to be who we are meant to be, the struggle is a part of that. And oftentimes we minimize that and don't realize that it's an important part of us becoming who we are. So this kind of goes right into the next question I have for you. So what are some unspoken or overlooked struggles women face today, especially in, let's say, your field or community, that women are kind of facing and trying to work through? And I think this is a really important concept in regards to, and we'll talk more about balance and boundaries and burnout, but just kind of, please.
Yeah, I think a challenge that women are facing in my field is isolation. A lot of hard work, long hours, kind of in that setting, maybe feeling like once you're done in that setting, you might go to another job at home. The whole home household management, experience that we face as women, and not really feel like you have anything left to bring there. You just like, leave me alone. I don't want to talk to anybody. Just leave me alone. But what happens is you become isolated, and isolation is very detrimental to your well-being. And when you're in it, you don't realize it till you start feeling the symptoms. then you're trying to recover from it. So I'd say really becoming disconnected is a challenge for women.
Yep.
Because you can get so immersed in all the things that you need to do. And we are creatures of community. So women particularly tend to emotionally share and unload and, talk about ideas and thoughts more so than men. And we need that. That's how we're wired. And I think when we are so immersed in work, and responsibilities, and we lose that, it really takes a toll. So that's what I say to that question.
And I think it's a really important share. It's part of the reason why we're doing this mastermind group, because it's something that's been a consistent theme I've heard time and time again from so many women that have said this isolation piece is a big deal. Like you feel as though you pour so much into what you're doing that
Mm-hmm.
you don't have enough for you, much less for your family. But you're like, even
Right, right.
your family, and then you're done. Like you're like it's, and so there isn't. Oftentimes, I hear so many of my clients say that they don't have this ability to just kind of decompress and have great conversations. And
Right.
I was talking to a mother, and she said, "Man, I feel like all I have is like conversations with kids all the time. I would like to have
Yeah,
stimulating
you
conversations."
got lullabies running in your head and cartoons and all you getting for a season. And you're like, I don't remember what type of music I like. I don't know what's happening.
Oh man, and I love that. So then, kind of along that same line, how do you personally manage the pressure to do it all, to be everything for everyone? Mm,
Realizing that I can't do it all.
mm,
Coming to an honest heart to heart,
mm,
you
mm,
know, realizing you can't do it, accepting that, you
mm,
know, I think that's a major piece.
mm.
A lot of us have this superwoman complex and, I'm all right. And you just keep putting bags on and keep trudging through.
Yep,
But eventually it just catches up to you. And realizing that you can't do it all
yep.
is okay.
Yes.
Admitting that can help you start to decide what's really important and what can wait, or what you can delegate or just ask for help with. But I think that is major. And again, as a Black woman, I think we carry a lot more weight just subconsciously,
Mm,
um, given the conditions that a lot of us come up in. We just
right.
carry a lot from our youth. So,
Yeah, yeah,
a lot of people became parents to their parents, or
yeah.
in a single parent household, you gain a sense of independence at a younger age, because you just gotta grab your bootstraps and try your best to help out as much as possible. So I think that can become it becomes an identity. Like, I do it. I get things done. I got to do this. I'm the responsible one.
Yep.
I'm the one people rely on. I got to get this done. And you don't have to be the one to do everything.
Yeah.
So I'd say that's what I'd say for that question.
No, and I love that you mentioned kind of childhood as a part of this, right? Because uh, there's this, it's fostered at a young age, right? You're taught and told this is your responsibility. You're supposed to do it all, and so it's just something that you are, and particularly, as a Black woman, I feel like it's even more so. It's a burden. But I love that you said this. It's like this additional component. Again, in the book today, well, I guess maybe, yeah, it was today, because you talked about clutter and about how these other things are additional distractions that are adding more to what's happening in your mind, right? And so you have this constant amount of things that are we're bombarded with, but there's all these underlying tracks that continue to be there that are already adding clutter to what we're already thinking about and what we're processing as far as our ability to show up. And so when it just adds more pressure, adds more to that intensity. So I appreciate you sharing that
Yes.
so much, for that authenticity. So where do you draw your strength from during these challenging kind of seasons and times when you kind of find yourself there? What are some things that you utilize to help you to be able to spiritually or practically be able to just kind of make it and push through?
Yeah. So I'd say I draw strength from my faith. God has been very good to me. And when I find myself under a lot of pressure, that's a safe refuge for me to get grounded again and seek direction and refocus and seek guidance on where I'm supposed to be and where I'm showing up where I don't need to be.
Mm,
um and also solitude. I draw strength from solitude, and that's different from isolation, so I don't want anybody to be confused by that. I know I was talking about isolation earlier, but solitude is more of a chosen quiet where
Yep.
you set yourself apart from all the noise and just take some time in the quiet to connect, reconnect with yourself, because oftentimes disconnection happens when we're just busy, busy, busy. And connect with your creator on a deeper level, because there's a lot of distractions and it's hard to see clearly when you have a lot of distraction, when you have a lot of stress. It's like a cloud, you're in a fog. So I'd say that helps me a lot. I'm not that much of a talker, so I'm working on that. But I mean, I'd say I'm more of an introvert. Let me just put it that way. So solitude helps me to recharge.
Yeah, but people oftentimes think introversion and extroversion means, like you said, being talkative, and you have a powerful personality. It's actually like it's about where energy comes from. So introversion says, I get my energy from being by myself. Extroversion says, I get energy from being around people. So I love that you said that, because it actually, yeah, I would never think of you as an introvert based upon your personality and your energy, right? But it makes complete.
Yeah, people say that. I'm like, I'm much more comfortable just chilling in a quiet space.
Yeah,
I love
yeah.
people, but like when I have to engage a lot with people, I find that I'm drained after. So
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah.
But I love that you talked about this concept of solitude, and about, again, this is also, it's funny that a lot of what you're sharing is material covered in this recent book, but it's so powerful because the author talks about what it means to recharge, and finding these places and spaces where we can kind of be able to find somewhere where we can actually recharge and get this energy that we need through solitude, through rest, through recharging and relaxation. And oftentimes I think our society kind of emphasizes going, this whole,
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure.
and that's,
Much slower pace than other countries.
yeah, oh my God, totally different. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Incredible. Totally. All right, so if nothing was holding you back, what's one thing you pursue more boldly right now?
Right now, I'd honestly say investing,
Oh,
but
ooh, I love
it's
that.
not off the table. But
Okay.
yeah, real
Yeah.
estate would be nice.
Okay.
So
Okay. All
yeah.
right. I like that. Okay. All right. And so you're like, listen, you'd like to go ahead and start building some passive residual income, huh? You're like, yeah, that's I love
Yes, yes, yes.
that. Okay. All right. That's awesome. And what does thriving actually look like for you? Emotionally, spiritually, financially, relationally? What does that look like for you?
Repeat the question.
What does thriving actually look like for you? Emotionally, spiritually, financially, and relationally?
Okay. Thriving basically as a whole, which what your question sounds like, is having a balance in my day where there is space to touch on each of those things. So a morning routine is very important for me, and I've been cultivating a more uh, thorough and consistent morning routine. Thank you, Coach Cecil, for your tips on that.
Welcome.
Um, but I get a little. I get my spiritual, my physical. I exercise. I get my emotional affirmations. I write. Uh, I read the word. So that always helps my day. And then I actually put time blocks on my calendar to connect. It says call a loved one or friend.
Okay.
Um, so really being intentional about making time for what I value,
Mhm.
because life gets so busy. It's like if I don't put it on my calendar, at least it's a reminder. And if I don't get to it that day,
Right.
it's on my mind. So maybe the next day I'll hit up somebody. So yeah, staying connected, and yeah, I I'd say having time to hit each of those areas daily.
Okay.
is thriving.
And then I love that. I love that. And the reason why I love it is, again, it's nuts how our conversation is totally in alignment with the book that we're reading right now. This, the author today talked about how our routine specifically speaks to, and this is Benjamin Hardy, speaks to setting a pace that allows us to then be in a position to basically recreate what's possible. And so we have these habits, we have this norm that whether we, and you mentioned this earlier, where well, whether we realize it or not, there are things that we default to. And the only way that you're able to kind of break free from that and be able to kind of push through is to then kind of set the pace to start at the start of the day. So what you mentioned in regards to intentionally having that routine and building that into your lifestyle is big. But the other part that you mentioned that I thought was equally as important was the relationship piece. Making that time for connection and connectivity. That's it. Those are, you oftentimes hear folks talk later on with regret. I didn't get a chance to. I didn't make the time to. I didn't. And so hearing you say that, that's beautiful. I love that you mentioned those things as an important part of what it means for you to thrive. So how important is it for women to have safe spaces to grow, to be vulnerable, and get real support? You've talked about what it means to kind of thrive, but how important is it to now have these kind of communities and places where they can actually grow, be vulnerable, and get the support that they need?
Oh, it's vital. And another thing I didn't mention was thriving is also taking time away to leave your normal routine. So a group of sisters, I call them my sisters, that I went to medical school with, we connect weekly on a call, and we are going to have a girls trip in the fall. So that's just an example of how you can work out creating that type of space, because we're all super busy and our call once a week isn't nearly enough time for us to really get into all that's going on in life. But we have the opportunity where we can talk, share, relax together, decompress, come up with ideas, and be real. Because sometimes you could be in a space where you can't say everything on the phone. You know what I mean? You can, so you gotta make time for that, and we ladies need it, and I don't think we get enough of it a lot of the times these days. It's just so crazy, but it's vital.
And it's interesting, right? Because I think oftentimes women don't understand that you're wired differently than we are as guys, right? So there's a need. Women are more relational, and that space creates room for creativity, creates room for you to be able to grow, right? It really does open up that opportunity. And so hearing you mention that is huge. It's so important. Um, when I created the book club in the first place, it was I knew we were in the pandemic and we needed to have room for us to be able to have space where people can talk and be vulnerable and kind of feel like they're connecting. And so creating environments where it's where we can have these learning spaces where we're able to grow is it's not important. As you said, the word vital was a great word to describe what it looks like. So thank you so much. Thank you so much. So can you think of a time when
My
another
pleasure.
woman, now you got I love the shares because this is like golden nuggets right here. I know folks are listening. Like, you're like, oh my gosh, I gotta jot this down. I write that down. Dr. Samantha is bringing it, y'all. I'm telling y'all gotta make sure you check her out on both on YouTube, on Facebook, on IG. Listen, she's killing it. So I'll make sure I give her a chance
Thank you, bro.
to share more so you can connect with her later on. So can you think of a time when another woman's support made a huge difference in your life?
Oh yes. um you and I know her mutually.
Yeah.
So I'm going to give her a shout out. Sandra Marley
Oh yeah.
really has been a support to me,
Wow.
especially when I was in that season where I told you I was like, something's got to give. And I was really getting into boundaries and research and going deep. So it was also in a season where something was being birthed in me, which is my practice that I shared with you at the beginning. And I was having a lot of doubts and, a lot of, you know, a lot of negative thoughts towards the possibility of this. And she really encouraged me. She spoke words of life to me. She sent me a card. She shared some scriptures with me to keep me encouraged. So I'm going to shout her out. I will give that as an example of a woman who helped to support me when I was going through a challenging season. And that's what we do for each other. And I think women uniquely can do that for one another in ways that men can't. So that's why it's important to have those spaces where women can come together and help support each other and encourage each other.
No, I think that's huge.
And my sisters I told you about.
Yeah,
We
exactly
pray
right.
together on our call
Yeah,
too once a week.
yeah,
So
yeah.
that's definitely helpful. Yeah.
That is, and I'll shout out Sandra Marley as well, because I'm blessed to have her as one of the coaches as a part of our entrepreneurs group that we have, our entrepreneurs mastermind that we have. So that is, it's a powerful tool in regards to us being able to have people like that you can rely on and that are willing to truly pour in it and have the experience and expertise. And I think it's interesting how it's easy for us to try to do it by ourselves, right? We try to just, we want to believe that on my own, I'm fine. I can make it. I'll be good. Um, but it's so much bigger than that. We need each other. We are better together. It just is what it is. So I love the fact that
Yes, for sure.
it's a big deal. It really is a big deal. So, all right. So next question, and I think that what you just said in regards to mentorship, support, encouragement, it ties directly into this. And I think this is cool. Why do you think now is the right time for women to invest in themselves, personally, professionally, spiritually?
Because we deserve it and we need to own that.
Mm.
If you don't do it now, when?
Mm.
And what's inside of you needs to be shared.
Mm.
And there's more to
Mm.
come. So if not now, when you gonna do it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's interesting, right? If not now, wow, when is a good question. I think we take for granted that there's a limitless amount of time available. So that
And we don't know. We really don't
don't
have a limitless amount of time.
we
You
don't.
know,
There's no.
tomorrow's not promised. You never
Not.
know what could happen. So you know,
It's not.
wisely invest in yourself and um, know that you're worth it.
Yeah. I intentionally made this women's mastermind group affordable because of the fact that I know that things are tough. People are struggling financially. A lot of folks are having a hard time. So, we intentionally, most mastermind groups, I've been in mastermind groups for years, they're thousands of dollars, sometimes tens of thousands of dollars to be a.
Oh yes, yes.
And so the decision,
Facts.
yeah, right. Yeah. So the
Uh-huh.
decision for this was, I said, for the whole year, it's only $900. So it's not even $1,000 to invest for the whole year if you
Wow.
do the whole year. And then the monthly, if you choose to do it as you pay as you go, it's just $100 a month. So $1,200 for the whole year if you did that. But
Nice.
again, I appreciate you saying that, because I think the important mindset and thought process has to be a decision where we decide that I'm worth it, like you said. Like I think that's that's a major part of what you're saying. And so the next question, I'll make this my last question because I know that you have to get to your day. So if another woman is watching this and feels stuck, what's the one thing you'd want her to know or do today?
Another woman's watching and feels stuck. I'd say take a moment of solitude. Write out the areas where you feel you are not aligned, things aren't working, reach out to someone to help you. You don't have to do this alone. And everyone has different belief systems, but me personally, when I'm in that type of situation, as I mentioned before, I see God for direction. And, sometimes what's funny is he will put the person on my heart that I need to reach out to.
I know that's right. Oh,
So,
yeah. All the time. Wow. Yes.
if you feel stuck, that's the advice I would give.
Yeah. No, that is fire right there. And I think um taking the time to pause is, and I get it, right? We're busy. We have so much going on. But if we can just take that moment, right? And pause and step away, even just briefly, it would be a game changer. It would be a complete and utter game changer. So I love that share. I love that share. Thank Dr. Samantha. I'm so grateful for your time. I know again, you're
Thank you for having me.
I know that you have so much going on, but it means so much to me that you would take this time, that you would pour into the women that are going to hear this. Again, this is going to be on YouTube. It's streaming on Facebook Live right now, and I know there's plenty of women that are going to have questions. And maybe we'll have a follow up to this based upon any questions that are in the comments below. Again, I just really appreciate you in taking the time to pour in and save to and I use the word save because there's someone that needs to hear what you shared today. Something that you shared meant something to somebody else. So what I want to do right now as you wrap up, I want to give you a moment, number one, again, just to let folks know how they can connect with you. And before you do that, I want to ask you just to share a little about your journey, right? Just talk through your journey a little bit as you close out so people understand, the journey of how Dr. Samantha became Dr. Samantha, how that came about, and so folks can understand the journey of you, and so why you are serving the way you're serving, and why they need to follow, need to connect them with your podcast, to why they need to be a part of your community, your tribe, and how you can possibly help them change their life. So I want to close out with you just sharing who you are on your journey, please.
Sure. So again, I'm Dr. Benjamin-Allen, also known as the Freedom Wellness Doc, founder of Freedom Wellness Physiatry, direct specialty in-home rehabilitation consulting practice serving the DMV area, helping the severely debilitated achieve increased mobility, function, and quality of life at home, partnering with caregivers to help people thrive again. And, the journey really stemmed from a seed of this fear of rejection that I had. I had this fear of rejection. I didn't feel like I was good enough. And part of that stemmed from the story of what I grew up in and how I thought people perceived me, and really journeying through becoming someone who could shed the negative beliefs or voices that were saying I couldn't achieve my dreams or I wouldn't amount to anything, to really owning that I have a purpose and there's more for me than what other people might see. And transferring that into sharing my voice and my gifts with others to help them see the possibilities in the circumstances that they're in. Because with the population I work with, whether it's trauma, illness, injury, a surgery, there is a stage for many where whatever has happened has caused them to question their purpose, or what am I going to do now? Or is this how people are going to see me? What does this mean? And even in that struggle and that situation, there's a purpose to be drawn from it. There's a purpose in the pain. And I walk alongside people to help them see that and see the possibilities through recovery on what that could look like, and inspire hope again. And I think that's a shared part of my journey, though different, that is relatable to what I bring to the people I serve.
Mm. Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. Now, how can folks find you? How can
You
they?
can find me on YouTube at Freedom Wellness Physiatry. Physiatry is spelled Physiatry. Tons of educational content, inspiring content to help people on their journey. There's a podcast called Thriving Through Trials, which features amazing people who have endured medical challenges and overcame or living through them and still doing amazing things. So please check that out and share it. Subscribe to the channel. You can reach me at info@freedomwellnessphysiatry.com if you have any questions or you're interested in being a guest. And also, I'm on my own wellness journey and share information and content on Instagram at freedomwellnessdoc. So look forward to sharing your journey.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much again, Dr. Samantha. So
You're
appreciate you.
welcome.
I'm so blessed. I'm so grateful for God bringing amazing people into my life and my network. And Dr. Samantha is one of those amazing individuals. So I'm truly appreciative of you just pouring into the community. And quick reminder, folks, just want to encourage you. Again, we've launched. So you may see this after the fact. We're launching this upcoming Sunday, the 29th of June. We're launching our ladies only mastermind group, but you'll see this maybe afterwards. It's okay. We'd love to have you join us whenever on the journey and be a part of this amazing cohort of women that are intentionally focused on creating change and transformation. So I love these stories. I'm excited. You'll continue to see more of these. We have a number of these. It's a whole series that we're doing. We're interviewing a lot of women because I just think it's so amazing. I've had so many incredible women that have come through, either I've coached or I've worked with, or that have just come into my life in different ways. And so I just can't wait for you to hear the different stories, hear the journey, and learn and grow from it. And so we'd love to have you be a part of our community. Plug in the link in my bio that you can go ahead and take advantage of being a part of the mastermind community and join us on the journey. Or you can comment below. Just comment mastermind below in the comments, and we'll make sure we get to you so you can be a part and plug in and take advantage of this incredible opportunity. The things that you heard Dr. Samantha share today, she's an example of why community matters, why you want to have folks around you that allow you to be able to create transformation so you can live your best life, so you can thrive, not just survive. So with that being said, as I say every day, if you can dream what God, you can achieve it. So let's go out, let's make our dreams our reality, because you know what? You deserve it. Be blessed, y'all. Thank you so much again. Have an amazing one. Thank you so much, Dr. Samantha. Appreciate you. Bye
No
now.
problem. Enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye. Take care.